have you been feeling since Laycon won the BBN?
Like, I'm going to be very honest, it still feels like a dream. Like, everything has changed. And we're grateful to God and the fans for making it possible.
Okay, what was your experience like handling his social media account throughout the duration of the house?
Well, it wasn't easy at all. At the same time, it was fun. Because right now I'm trying to, hand over gradually, and I'm only getting to find out that I'm a bit addicted to the page. Yeah, so yes, it was fun, but it was also stressful because in a day I could do like almost 1,000 messages. I'll
8,000.
probably go, yes, I'll probably go to bed like 5 a.m. in the morning, and I still had to wake up early to get to set, because I'm an actor as well. So it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it.
What do you think explains the huge followership that Laycon had in the house?
Honestly, people will think I'm saying it because I'm trying to be modest, or I can't explain it. I just it boils down to God. I say it's God. Because I can't say this is what I did specially, aside from the dedication that I had to put to it, and having to find contents that were worth it and everything. I just say it's God, because someone else could have done it and it wouldn't have gone the same way. So I can't, that's the mystery everybody is trying to. Even it's a mystery to me as well.
Okay, so why did you decide to handle that project for him?
Well, when he was going into the house, aside from, trying to talk to him on, what to do, what not to do, and all of that, the moment he entered into the house, my husband, which happens to be his manager, and the team were kind of looking for the best person they thought could handle the page. And I kind of had experience with Instagram. That's why I am. I always tell people I'm hardly ever on Twitter, which I just started doing now. I'm hardly ever on Twitter or Facebook. Instagram is what I understand, so they just said, what, we think you can do a good job, try and handle it. And I'm like, okay, let's see how it goes. And, that was how it just started. It wasn't like it was the plan from the get-go.
Okay. And how did your husband also become his manager?
He's known Liko for the longest,
Okay.
and as you all have come to realize, Liko is someone you would meet and fall in love with. And my
Okay.
husband had always been that type of person that I always call it his talent. I call it his superpowers. He knows how to, just find budding talents and, bring them to light to the point where other people can, discover them and say, okay, we want to sign this person, which I think is actually what he did with Laycon as well. And I have to give credit to Laycon as well, because he's the type that listens. It's one thing to have a talent that you're trying to, bring to the limelight and try to help and all of that. It's another thing to listen, because a lot, like, it's hard to find an artist that is willing to listen and do what he's being told and everything. So yeah, he's known him for the longest, and I think he just started out like that, and then one day I think he was going to be signed, and he just decided to call my husband and say, you know what, these people are trying to sign me, and I don't want to do it without you, because I trust you, and I know that you have my best wishes at heart, and let's do this together. And the rest is history.
How easy was it handling the page for somebody you couldn't get in touch with in the house and you were outside, and coordinating all
It
of that?
was hard. It was very hard, because if it was that we had a strategy in place, we would say, okay, let's just go according to the strategy and everything. But it was difficult because Laycon went in there without any strategy. And for us, we couldn't push a different narrative outside. What if we were pushing a narrative outside and then he does the contrary on the inside? So it was kind of difficult. So we had to go with what we were seeing. I was always 24/7 in front of the television. And then whatever he does, and I see that, okay, yes, this is worth hyping, this is what, letting people see, is what I record and I put up on the social media. And that's why you see that, in fact, we don't push any music until Laycon mentions it in the house or he talks about it. Yeah, that's when we'll now say, okay, he has spoken about it. Let's let people know that, yes, this music exists and everything. So I always had to be in front of my television, always. It was more or less like I had to put my own life and career on hold, more or less, because it took everything. It took my time. It took everything.
Were there times you felt, perhaps he's not going to make it to the end and all of that? Did you have those fears at different points?
Were there times? That was how we felt until like the 5th week. I remember when he was going into the house and I kept telling him that, come, you know what, you can't go inside the house and you can't sell sex, you can't sell your body because you are not buff in any way. There are guys in the house that are going to be buffer than you. You can't try and push relationship because the girls in the house will be more interested in the guys that are buff and everything. But one thing I know personally from you, like speaking to you and everything, I know that you're intelligent. Go into the house and show them how intelligent you are. That's the only thing that I know that, can work for you. Let them know that, okay, I know that people are going to look at you and want to judge a book by its cover. Just go in and then prove otherwise. Show them that it's not always the way they seem. I remember the first day when he was announced on stage and all. My first Instagram post was, do not judge a book by its cover, because I knew he was going to wow everybody. I knew the narrative was going to change because I saw the backlash. And to be honest, it was hurting knowing that, okay, this person is far from what everybody seems to believe or what they thought he was, and I'm glad the narrative changed. Right from the next day, it had changed, and people loved him for who he was, irrespective of his flaws and everything. We were grateful, but to be honest, we didn't see him making past the 2nd week, because even he had said it that he's just going to go into the house, push his music, because in the 1st week we just felt, you know what, they won't evict anybody being the 1st week. It was going to be too early. So the 2nd week is when they will start evicting people. So we know you are coming home, but at least just sell your music as much as possible, because that's why you're going in there. Sell your music so that when you come out, at least we'll have content to push and we'll have the platform to say, okay, you know what, this guy was from Big Brother, listen to his music and everything. We didn't see him going that far. We honestly didn't see him going that far.
So what do you think made Liko win? What do you think made Liko win?
To be honest, like I said, aside from God, because I always say it is God, because I cannot explain it. I feel like it's grace. It's grace unmeasurable, unexplainable. But aside from that, I also think it's the fact that, for this year's Big Brother, people wanted something different.
Okay.
And I think the different thing they wanted was a Liko. We've had that controversy with people saying, oh, Big Brother is not educative, Big Brother is this, Big Brother is that. He came and he changed the narrative, And for that, we're really proud. And aside from that, I think he's surrounded by people that love him, people that see him for who he is, people that are willing to go to the end of the world for him. So it wasn't like we had, like I say, like we built a team for Liko in 24 hours. Because we didn't think it was going to be that big or anything. We had like a 10-man team. So contrary to what people were thinking, we didn't have any money to push him. I always told people that if we had that much money to push the publicity that we were pushing and everything, then there was no need for him to go into Big Brother now. We'd have just carried that money and put it into his music, So it wasn't like we had the resources or anything. The only thing that he had was God and people with experience, I could say my husband had the experience, I had the experience, and he's surrounded by people that love him regardless. those were what he had on his side. And before you know it, his fans were the same. They loved him regardless. They saw him for who he was, and they just fell in love with him. I think those were the things that worked in his favor. Grace, his fans, and him.
How are you able to put together all the celebrities who supported him?
We did not put them together. Not once did we reach out to any celebrity to say, please help us root for Laycon. No. All I knew I was doing was I would see this person's post, or some fans would tag us and say, oh, have you seen this celebrity? This celebrity just posted Laycon. And then I will have to go to the page, and then I will have to, you know, follow back and then send a message and say, oh, we really appreciate you for your support. Thank you. And that was how it was. Not once did I personally, or his team personally, send out a message to any celebrity. We never did it. We never did.
As you were trying to promote him and all of that, other people were promoting other housemates. How did you feel when you saw those competitive activity going on?
To be honest, I didn't see that. To be honest.
Okay.
I didn't see it. I was just focused on the task I was given. Because I noticed that, you know, initially, when the whole thing started, because I had never done anything like this before. So I wanted to kind of like, you know, see how other housemates were running and everything. And then I realized that checking other people's page and other fans and other competitors was only putting me under pressure. And then it was doing more of distracting than helping, you know? And I wanted his page to be very original. I wanted his page to be unique to him. And then we knew the kind of person Laycon was. And then before I posted anything or I put up a caption or anything, the first thing I always ask myself is, if Laycon comes out tomorrow and sees this, would he be happy? You know, beyond every other thing, I knew for a fact that despite the fact that he was in Big Brother, he wanted to maintain who he was. He didn't want to change for anything, you know. He's the kind of person that would choose his kind of person over money or fame or anything. He's this person first, you know. So before I tweeted anything, I always had to check myself and say, oh, would Laycon be happy with this when it comes out? Would he be proud of the way I had, you know, handled his page and everything? So that kind of put me in check, and that kind of helped me, you know, handle the page the way it was supposed to go. It wasn't easy. There were days I got really emotional. Yes, there were days I got really emotional.
What caused that? What led to that?
You know, sometimes you get to read hurtful comments from, you know, fans. You get to read comments from the fan base of the competitors, you know. And sometimes it's not easy just looking away. But I had to because I knew that what was at stake was more important than what anybody had to say. You know, it was more important than what was at stake. And I knew that if by chance the boy was going to win, if he came out, all these things won't matter anymore. You know, what they said, whatever anybody had said, whether hurtful or demeaning, whatever it wasn't going to matter if he won. So I just stayed focused, to be honest.
How did you feel on the last day when they announced his name? Just before the announcement, and were you scared? Just before it was announced?
Yeah, I'm sure the people that were at the viewing center would attest to this. For the next, like when it was time to announce the winner and they had called Dorothy and Liko on stage, I don't know who it was that I was hugging. I don't know if I was hugging a stranger or if it was I don't know. I just knew that I held on to someone and I couldn't watch I couldn't watch the television anymore, the screen. I couldn't watch it. I was just shaking and pacing and panting and holding on to the person. I had my nails fixed, so I knew that my nails were stuck into the person's back. The person probably was in pain. I just did not care. And the moment they announced his name, from nowhere, I don't know what happened, I just started crying. And my crying was not based on the fact that he won. The tears were tears of, is this really happening? Are you trying to say that all our hard work did not go in vain? We didn't see this coming. We gave this boy 2 weeks and he ended up winning. Like, God, what are you trying to... I always tell people that God has a very weird sense of humor. He does have a weird sense of humor. Yes, he does.
Let's talk about your career and life as an actress.
Okay.
How did that start? How many years
Well,
ago?
for me, I've been in the industry now for 8 years, but professionally, I would say, and by professionally, for those that don't understand what I'm saying, I'll say for the times that I've been on the screen the most without any break in between, I would say 4 years. I would say 4 years.
Okay.
But I started 8 years ago. And well, for me, it's not been easy. I won't say it's been easy because, you know, our industry is filled with a lot of talented people, and you have to do the most. You have to work the hardest to try and get noticed, which isn't very easy. But for me, it has always been about the passion. I enjoy what I do. In fact, sometimes when I'm home and I'm not on set, I almost slip into depression, and my husband is praying to God, like, God, just find something to give this woman. Let her just go on set and work. It's that bad. I enjoy what I do. So, like I always tell people, it's not like I'm in a hurry to, you know, to be in people's faces or to be famous or anything. I'm grateful for what God has given me. Not a lot of people have what I have, and I don't mind going through the, you know, the due course and the due process. If it takes 10 years, that's fine by me. If it takes 5, if it takes 2, that's fine by me. I'll keep, you know, putting in the work, and hopefully one day it's going to pay off.
Okay, so now that Liko has won and is out there, so what's the plan? What next for you?
For me, well, like I always, like, I've been getting a lot of messages right now with people sending me messages, like if they have to complain about anything that has to do with Laycon, it is me they come to meet. And I keep telling them, I'm not his manager. My husband is his manager. I was just his Instagram handler, you know. I have my own career. I have my own stuff. So basically, I do music as well. I was going to release an EP this year, but because of the pandemic, I couldn't do that. And because of, you know, the Big Brother thing, I couldn't do that. It's over. I'm going to go into, you know, I'm going to go back to the studio, try and record as much as I can. Aside from that, I'm going to, like, I've been doing a lot of jobs, like movie jobs, and they get to come out. So you guys expect a lot from me this year. And basically that's it for me. I don't know. I want to go into movie production, but I'm not the type to go into what I really do not understand that much. So I'm still trying to, you know, do my survey, try and understand what it is I'm getting myself into, and then just take it up from there.
So what was your experience? What has been your experience on social media? And now you're a big social media player and all of that. What's the experience like? What advice are you going to offer and all of that?
Well, for me now, I wouldn't lie. Ever since, you know, the unveiling happened, like I have more, what's it called? I have more followers than before. Yes. And the attention is massive, and I'm grateful to God for that. I couldn't have asked for anything better. But if I'm going to advise anybody, I don't know, even my husband complains. The way I handle my Instagram is more or less like, you know, all my fans are like my brothers and my sister. I'm not the type to ignore any comments, or I like, as much as possible. If it was before, when I had like 55K followers, I used to reply every single comment I got, no matter how many, you know. I would reply each and every one. And my husband would go, but these people understand that you're busy, you're stressing yourself and everything. I'm like, I don't know how to ignore, you know. I want them to feel like they're a part of me and I'm a part of them, you know. But now that the followers are more than, you know, it used to be, I'm still trying as much as possible to reply every comment. It's just difficult. And, you know, I try to reply as much DMs as I can because, you know, I always tell people these fans are the people that got you where you are. They're the ones that are, you know, flying your name and your flag. So the least you can do is be nice to them, you know. The least you can do is listen to them. The least you can do is answer them. So as much as you can, reply as much messages as you can. Be nice to people. It doesn't cost you anything. I always tell people, in fact, I feel like it's harder to be a nasty person than to be a nice person, you know? So if there's any advice I'm going to give anybody, just try as much as possible to be nice to your fans. It won't cost you anything. It won't cost you anything.